I've got three of the most powerful electric cars currently on sale. Tesla Model S Plaid, Lotus Emeya R, and the Audi RS e-tron GT Performance. But what does their performance actually do to their range? Well, to find out, I've got these cars fully charged. We're going to leave here, drive up the motorway as far as we can go to see how far they can travel on a single charge. We'll also find out what happens when they do run out of battery. You know, do they suddenly just conk out, leave you stranded, or do you get plenty of warning? Everybody in the car rock. Come on, let's find out. I'm Matt Watson, you're watching Carwow. This is how much each of these cars cost. So you can save an average of £10,000 off the Audi through Carwow. This is the size of their batteries, this is their claimed range, and this is how much power they each have. Off we go. Now, rules of engagement. We're going to drive these cars like we'd normally drive, okay? Because if you've got an electric car, you don't have to drive like super cautious and efficient the whole time. You just want to be able to drive it normally. So that'll mean that we're going to be going at the speed limits. However, let's say you are driving your electric car, then you realise that you're going to run out of battery. You're going to start being a bit more cautious and drive slower. So when we get into like a stage where our battery is running out, we're going to probably be reducing the speed, maybe turning off the aircon and so on and so forth, just to eke out that last bit of range, because that is what you would do as a driver. But you don't want to drive like that the whole time, do you? Because what's the point? To that end, we will be having the air conditioner on if we want it, and the heated seats on if we want them. Though it's probably not necessary because it's not dead cold. Look, it's 10 degrees. Anyway, let's see how we get on. We're going to head out to the motorway and get cruising. Now, each of these cars have various different driving modes, but because we've got the performance models, we want to at least be in sport mode. Now, you do notice that the range on sport is 222 miles, whereas if I put it into range, it is 236 miles. It's a slight difference, but I mean, what is the point of paying all the money for the R version of this car, or the Plaid, or the RS Performance GT, if you're not going to at least run in the sports mode? So we're going to drive in sports mode. Now, when things get a little bit sketchy later on, when we're running out of battery, we might have to deploy our most efficient modes, but until then, let's drive these cars like we'd like to drive them if we own them. So we've been driving now for about 91 miles. The average energy consumption is 45.9 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, which works out to roughly 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And it says I've got 124 miles of range remaining. Let's have a check-in with Nick in the RS e-tron GT.
I have 65% of my battery remaining, 164 more miles, and at the moment I'm averaging 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour.
Rory in the Tesla, what have you got?
69% of its battery left, 239 miles of range, and I'm currently doing 293 watt hours per mile, and that works out to 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour.
All right, so this is clearly the least efficient, and that's why I've got far less battery remaining. Now, as part of this range test, I'm going to be checking out how many charging stations are open at the service stations that we stop at. So here we have some grid serves. It looks like 2 bays. One seems to be in action. This one looks like it's about to be freed up. It is working, which is good. We're doing an EV range test.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, how's your EV?
It's doing well. I have to go to the side because it's only one charge.
So you can't charge here.
Yeah.
You've got to go all the way round. Don't you wish you just had a diesel?
At times.
All right, I'll let you go, mate. Do you have this through your business?
Yeah.
That's why. Okay. Good for benefiting kind. Is that the only reason?
Yeah, that's right.
But there's another good reason why you might want to buy one of these particular electric cars. They're all very, very quick. The Lotus is supposed to do 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, but my battery is just under 50% full, so that might affect things. Launch activated. Oof. 2.9 seconds, that's pretty quick. Now for the Audi, it's supposed to do 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. 2.96 seconds. It spins its wheels more than the Lotus, but it just feels more stable. It just goes straighter. Tesla says the Model S Plaid will do 0 to 60 in just under 2 seconds for just over 60% battery, so let's see what happens. Oh, it's struggling for traction. I can feel it holding the power back, and then it absolutely rockets forward. This did 3.07 seconds, but it was absolutely struggling to put its power down the most. Stayed stable though, but once it found traction, you really felt it just take off, and then it felt faster than the others. But that initial pickup on this surface, it struggled the most. It wasn't the most scary though, that was a Lotus. But 0 to 60 times are only part of the story. How would these cars compare over a standing quarter mile? Well, I haven't raced the new Emeya yet, but I have timed the Lotus Electra SUV. That car uses the same platform and the same 918 horsepower electric motors as the Emeya, and its best quarter mile time was 10.8 seconds. I'd expect the slightly lighter Emeya to be a bit quicker, but I'm not sure it'll match the Audi RS e-tron GT's best time, which was an impressive 10 seconds flat. But the Model S Plaid is in a different league altogether. The best quarter mile time I've recorded in that car is 9.6 seconds. But for plenty of drivers, style is just as important as acceleration. So, which of these cars looks the best? I'm going to start off with the Tesla. Do you know what? I really like the look of it. It looks pretty sporty, especially in this MAGA red. Sorry, slip of the tongue. I meant magma-like red. I think it's called ultra red. The design hasn't changed that much since the Model S was introduced, but there is something about it. It's just clean, simplistic. It's got quite wide haunches. There are a few things though, like the panel gaps in places are a little bit questionable. The alloy wheel design's a little bit bland. I think this one's on 19s, which is good for efficiency, and it's also good for comfort. Door handles, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of poppy 80 handles, but these are among the best. Being the Plaid has a carbon fibre gurney flap spoiler, and then you've got the silly kind of Plaid badge, which I'm not a big fan of, to tell you the truth. It's a little bit kind of cheesy. Now we come to the Audi RS e-tron GT performance. So Audi has recently facelifted the car, so it's got this new grille that's not a grille because it's electric, so it doesn't need a grille, but you get the idea. This new fascia, I am not a fan of this forged carbon there. That looks awful. It's a shame because the rest of the car is just so chef's kiss. We've got 21-inch alloy wheels, lovely big silver brake calipers, these air vents there. I like the fact we've got normal door handles. Once again, a bit like the Tesla, nice wide rear hips, but even more pronounced here because of these beautiful lines down the side of the car. Then at the back, once again, very, very attractive. I like this car, and I like Audi's light signatures as well. Finally, we come to the Emeya, and I do think this is the most striking looking car, maybe because of the orange paint, but I think it's just because there's so much going on in terms of the design. Loads of streaks, lines, air vents, the light design, the swathes of carbon fibre, which unlike with the Audi looks like proper carbon fibre. It's much better. There's a big bright yellow and green Lotus badge. Let's move down the side. This car is riding on some huge 22-inch alloy wheels, but they look very good. And if you thought the Audi brakes look great, check out these high-vis brake calipers there. We've got these cameras instead of normal door mirrors. These are optional. More on this later on, but I do want to show you the door handles on this because like the Tesla, they are poppy outy, but you know, you have soft close on car doors. This has soft open. In fact, the doors will open all the way out like that if you're sat on the inside, and obviously they're shut like that as well. Oh, lovely. Now moving down the back, once again, very interesting design with loads of like air vents and scoops. This spoiler actually alters its height depending on what driving mode you're in. It's a distinctive looking car. Sometimes I think it's a little bit overdone, but other times I look at it and I think, wow. Overall though, I think the Audi is the best looking. Each of these cars has a special feature, and the one on this Audi is the fact that when you open the door, it automatically raises up on its suspension to make it easier for you to get in, and then once you've climbed aboard and shut the door, it then drops down again. The Tesla special feature is all about fun. So through the car's infotainment system, you can create various noises which are then projected from a speaker behind the bumper. You can actually choose a fart noise. In fact, there's not only one fart noise, there's a whole range of fart noises. So let's have some fart sounds. Yeah, let's have another one. Now another sound of fart. There's normally different farts. Falcon heavy. We've just got one fart, and our farting system has a glitch at the moment, so it's just a simple fart. Now the Lotus's special feature is basically one-upmanship on Tesla. So we all know that Tesla has autopilot. It's not full self-driving. It relies on cameras and computer programs to figure out what other cars are doing around it. However, the Lotus can technically do full self-driving. The reason is that it has these things called LiDAR sensors. You'll see this thing pop up, and there's one in the back as well. So these sensors are using laser and radar to figure out the distance to different objects. Unfortunately, we can't use this in the UK yet because it's not legal to do full self-driving, but the car could technically do it in places where it's allowed. Right, I thought I'd jump into the Tesla Model S Plaid. First thing you notice that it's very quiet. Tesla actually uses noise cancelling technology like you have in your headphones. I think it uses the stereo speakers to counteract the noises that you get from outside the vehicle. So you don't really notice too much road noise nor wind noise. I'm cruising along at 70 and you hardly notice. Another thing that's quite interesting about this car is that you can really tinker with the suspension. You can use this slider to change the handling characteristics of the car and the ride comfort. Normally you can just either have improved handling or improved ride. For some reason I seem to be able to have both. The suspension itself, even in the softer setting, it has a slightly taut feeling to it, but it's not uncomfortable. Only on really broken surfaces does it get a little bit kind of jiggly and shaky. One thing that I'm really annoyed about is that I want to change that door mirror, but I've got to do it through the screen and then this button here, so I'm just not going to bother. But you know, if you own this car, what you'll do is have it set as a preset and you just hit your profile there at the top and it'll automatically set the car up exactly as you want it. Overall though, it feels like a nice car to drive, handles pretty well for something that weighs well over 2 tons, but it's not exactly sporty, I'd say. Even though the steering's quite sharp, it doesn't really make you want to throw it down a twisty road, despite the fact that it has incredible performance. Considering the amount of performance it has, it's surprisingly efficient, but Teslas always give good efficiency from their electric cars. Speaking of which, let's see what this one is doing now. So we've done 120 miles. Our average energy consumption is 313 watt hours per mile, which works out to 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. 54% of the battery remaining, which is good for a range of 188 miles. Right, let's see how the other cars are doing. Hey Rory, how are you getting on in the Lotus?
2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. It's got 36% of its battery remaining, 85 miles of range left.
I thought the Chinese were supposed to be good at batteries and energy efficiency and stuff. Let's see how the Audi is doing. Nick, what's your energy consumption?
2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. I've got 52% of my battery left, 133 miles.
That Lotus is well off the pace. It's going to be interesting to see how far it actually manages. I'm at Welcome Break, Leicester Forest East service station, and as long as I can remember doing these EV range tests, these chargers have never been operational, and this service station have never had any alternative charging points. I mean, come on. A lot of people complain about Teslas feeling a bit cheap on the inside, but I disagree. I mean, they don't use leather, so obviously you don't get a full leather feel, but the materials are still nice and you can't fault the technology. The infotainment system is so fast, it's quite easy to use, got loads of functionality. My only real complaint with it is the fact that you don't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You have to use Tesla's mapping system or you connect your phone via Bluetooth. One thing that I don't like though is the fact that the gear selector is here on the screen, so you have to slide it like that. I much preferred it when they had the controller on the steering column. Speaking of which, I also much preferred it when they had actual stalks for the indicators and stuff. I hate these indicators and having to use the buttons on the steering wheel, which are touch sensitive to operate various things. One thing I should point out is that the Tesla does sort of have soft open. Look, press the button, door opens a little bit like that, but that's as far as it goes. Now I've jumped into the Lotus and I'll show you exactly the full extent of its soft opening door. Look, press the button and it opens the whole way, and then I just press the brake to shut it. That is better than the Tesla. I think the Model X does that, but not the Model S for some reason. Quality feels better than in the Tesla. Yeah, things are even more solid. Love the Alcantara steering wheel. The design is pretty cool as well. The infotainment system, really, really fast. Apparently the processor in this is the same as used in like some gaming chips or something like that. Can't remember the exact details, but that is super slick. And unlike with the Tesla, you can use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto through it. Unlike with the Tesla though, you do have a much smaller digital driver's display. Yeah, but you have a big heads-up display, which you don't have in the Tesla. Headlining feels lovely. Oh, look at that. It's definitely got a more expensive feeling here on the inside. I like it. What I'm not a big fan of though are these screens here, but we'll talk about that a little bit more when I'm driving to really show you the problem. Seats in these, I like the seats in the Tesla, but these feel even nicer, and I'm glad that we've got an actual little gear selector there. Much easier to use rather than swiping on the screen. Finally then, the Audi. So in terms of the interior quality, I mean, it's top level in here. It's got that solid, reassuring German feel to it, and some of the materials are really nice, like the leathers, the Alcantara on the the steering wheel. Definitely don't like the touch sensitive buttons because they're a bit fiddly to use and feel a bit cheaper than actual buttons. I'm also not a fan of more of this forged carbon fibre effect. It just looks terrible. However, I am welcoming the actual physical buttons for the climate control, which the other two cars don't have. And while the main infotainment system, quite frankly, is lacking, it's a bit basic really and quite a small screen, the digital driver's display is the best of all three cars. There is something about this, you just sit lower and it just feels the sportiest, and that is helped by these RS Sport seats, which are very, very nice. The back seats of the RS e-tron are a little bit tight. I'm just about okay. Look, headroom, knee room, foot space, just about okay. I do feel like my feet are quite high, so there's not much under thigh support, and these backrests seem quite upright, but the seats themselves, just like in the front, feel lovely. But let's try it with someone taller in, someone over 6 foot. So Rory, I don't think you're going to enjoy this much.
Yeah, head's on the ceiling.
Oh really? Okay.
Knees alright, but yeah.
Shouldn't be so tall, should you?
No, that's true.
Okay, but this has 3 seats in the back. Nick? No, this is... No, it's not right,
very
no.
nice.
Just like in the front, the Lotus feels extremely special in the back, but this has the upgraded £6,000 extra executive pack. So what that means is that instead of a 3-seater bench, you get these 2 luxury seats, and they feel special. You can recline them. You can also lengthen the seat base or shorten it. And you'd think, based on the amount of knee room I've got and the decent amount of headroom, I think it would be brilliant back here. But there's a problem. Your feet, once again, a bit like in the Audi, but even worse, seem quite high up, so there's no under thigh support, and you can't really get any because the front seats are slammed so low you can't slide your feet under them at all. So that's a bit of a shame, and your ankles end up getting quite uncomfortable. It's really nice with this roof, which you can actually blank out to make it more shaded, so it's got an inbuilt blind. And then you've got features such as the infotainment system here in the back, so you can control things like the massage seats and all that kind of stuff. It's just a shame I can't get fully comfy. I'll have to ride like that, I think. Let's try it with someone taller. Rory, do you want to jump in? I think you're going to feel the exact same issue that I have.
No foot space.
Yeah, you can't quite.
No.
Oh well. Finally we come to the Tesla. So knee room's really good, headroom's really good, but like with the other cars, you just feel like the seat is too close to the floor, so hardly any under thigh support. In fact, this feels the worst. And as with the cars, you can't really slide your feet too far underneath the chairs in front. But there is a solution with this, and it's this space here. So you go sort of side saddle. It is a shame that these back seats just seem too upright. Probably good for your posture, but not so good for your comfort. Now we do have tech back here as standard look. We get this big screen where you can control various different things, and you don't have to pay extra for that. You don't have to pay extra for the glass roof either. It's very well equipped. But let's try it with 3 in the back at once. Actually, it's not quite as wide as I thought. It's better than the Audi.
Yeah.
You don't want to go far like this, do you? So it's a win for the Tesla. I've just swapped into the Audi e-tron GT. I'm just checking here at Woodall Services what charging points there are. So there's a DC charger there, but there's more over here. 6 bays to charge, and they are all DC fast chargers. Well done, Woodall Services. We're in some more road works here. There's been quite a lot en route actually, so we haven't been averaging close to 70 miles an hour, obviously. Now, I've driven this Audi at various speeds, and there are a couple of things that stand out compared to the Tesla Model S Plaid. The first is there's a bit more road noise with this car. Second thing is it just feels more sophisticated to drive. It's something to do with the suspension, the way it goes down the road. It's still got a nice sporty torque feel to it, but it just absorbs the sharper edges of the bumps. It doesn't get phased so much either. It just seems really solid, secure and planted, and it has a sportier feel while also being more comfortable. You can sort of tell that Audi spent more money developing the car itself and the platform probably than Tesla have. You know, they're focused on outright performance and tech and energy efficiency, whereas this, you can just tell that Audi has been building cars for like 100 years or so. It really is a very nice car. Yeah, the Tesla might have the headline figures, but this, I'd rather own this. Right, and let's just do a little check-in. So this car's averaging 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. We've got about 40% of the battery remaining. That's good for a range of 99 miles. Nick, in the Lotus, can you give me your stats, please?
I'm doing 47.1 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, which works out at 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour. I've got 16% of my battery left, which means I should go 37 miles. That's it.
Rory, in the Tesla, how about you?
302 watt hours per mile, which works out at 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. I have 43% of my battery left, means I've got 150 miles of range, so I've got a long old way to go.
I'm at Trial Services and we have 5 charging stations, all are operational. Bit confusing how you can use them, but 3 of them can do DC charging and 3 of them can do AC charging. So 1 charging station can do either AC or DC charging. But really, when you think about the amount of electric cars on the roads now, there's quite a bit of, like, can you say, queuing going on. So Mark, you have just bought this Skoda Enyaq.
Yeah.
First time you've had an electric car.
Yes.
So how are you finding it?
Really good. So this is the first time I've actually took it on a long journey.
Because you've been down to Wembley for the football, now you're driving back up to Newcastle.
I had a bit of a scare this morning where the Shell garage, it was out of order, but it wasn't on the Zap map.
Okay.
So that was a bit of a scary one. Then when I travel to another one, I've got about 4 miles. The warnings were coming up and it was just like, only drive slow, 5 miles an hour, so it was pretty terrifying. Like, but
at that point, were you regretting an electric car?
I wasn't regretting it, but I think we should have planned a little bit better.
So you're not wanting a diesel today?
No.
Really? You're fine to keep on stopping?
Nah, I'm fine. I'm hoping in the summer I get more miles out of it, because it says 250, but I'm only getting about 190.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be, I think.
Yeah.
Now we're going to compare the boot capacities, starting with the Audi. You've got 350 litres of space, which doesn't look that big. And to put it into context, we're going to try and fit a human in it. So Nick, could you do me a favour and climb in the boot? Can you fit a man in the Audi's boot? That is 1 man. You've got to get your entire body in. It looks like there might be room for another man, but Rory, do you wanna, is that doable?
How do you like it, Nick? Confident.
Actually, I don't think, Rory, I think you need to get out. Let's go for a slightly smaller man. You might be wondering why I'm not getting in. Well, there's a reason for that, because I need to test the other storage compartment. Go on, guys, I think you can definitely, just imagine you are actually spooning. Miguel, we're going to try and shut it now, so watch your feet. You don't want to lose your feet. Move those fingers. 2 men in the boot. So apparently this car has a frunk. We've got an entire team trying to figure out how to get into it. I think I remember. It's on the door. Here, look. There it is. Right, 85 litres then. Not much more than a Porsche 911s, but here we go. I'm going to get in. That's it. It's hurt my back, but I'm sort of in. Go on. No, it's not going to work. See, I don't get the team to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Next car. The Emeya's boot capacity is 509 litres, but that's if you have the normal 3-seater bench. With the posh seats, you only have 426 litres of space. It looks like it goes back quite a long way, but it's not very deep. Maybe there's some more storage under here. Let's have a look. Not really. At least this cover's kind of flexible, so that might help you out a little bit. We can definitely fit you in there. You're going to fit. Ooh. This is where, like, numbers don't tell the whole story. This is no. I mean, you're going to have to 69 it. 69 it. Don't be shy.
Oh, easy for you to say.
There we go. There we are. I think if we can just. Right, here we go. It's shut in.
Oh my God.
Shout if it hurts. That's what I say to all the men. Right. No. No. Bigger on paper, smaller in reality. Now it's my turn to try the front boot. We've got 31 litres of fruit space. I mean, can I even stand in it? Now if I fall over here, I'm going to break my ankles. Almost did. I'm kind of wedged. There we go. Yeah, this is so far the least practical. Got it back. Finally then we come to the Tesla. 709 litres in the boot apparently. Yeah, it looks the biggest, but there is this storage area under here, so I don't know how. Well, I know, maybe. Actually, if I take this stuff out. Go on, Nick, get in there. Not in that lower bit. Go towards the back. I think, Rory, this might be the first time. Whoops. I think you need to get part of your body in there, Rory, for this to work.
I'm almost looking forward.
Put your belly in there. Your belly and your bollocks.
Girl on top?
Well, I don't know, because we've got to shut this, Nick. Okay. This is the problem. Let's just put that there. Yeah, you could get Miguel in that. Look at the position you're in. I mean, clear win. We've got 89 litres front boot space, by far and away the biggest. Look at this. Definitely the best. No point really, but do you want your revenge? Don't do it too hard, please.
That bit will hurt.
Well, if I go like that, go on. Oh, he wants to do it much harder than that to win for the Tesla, surely. I'm at Ferrybridge Services and there's lots of charging bays. So we've got 14 grid serves here, and I think there's another 6 over there. Then there's 18 Tesla bays. It's fine. Finally then, I'm in the Emeya, and it's not starting off well because I've got 14% battery left, only 32 miles of range. Now to drive, on smooth roads like this, it feels pretty nice, but over slightly bumpier surfaces, it does shake the car a bit. It feels like the less sophisticated the way it goes down the road, this car. It kind of feels a bit overly firm at times, and I wonder if that's partly to do with the fact that it's the heaviest here at 2.6 tonnes, so the suspension is just having to work harder to keep the car stable. But also I wonder if some of it's to do with development, because often with a car manufacturer, the more time and money they spend on developing the car suspension, just in terms of fine-tuning it, can really affect how it drives. And I wonder if they just haven't spent so much on this car. I mean, normally Lotus are absolutely brilliant at suspension. They do cars that handle well and they're really comfortable, but usually Lotus builds light cars, and this is not a light car. And to be fair, this isn't a car that's been built in Norfolk by the Lotus factory. It's built out in China. It's not terrible, but it's not quite in keeping with this car's price tag, nor the badge on the bonnet. What is better though is the soundproofing. There's a bit of wind noise just from there, but hardly any road noise. It's really quite good. I'm less keen on these camera instead of door mirror thingies because it just feels weird, like looking at that angle when you expect to see it there. Looking over that side isn't as bad though, but ultimately with these digital displays you just don't get any depth perception like you do with a mirror, so I wouldn't expect those. As for the handling, well, the steering is pretty responsive. This is fine, you know, if you drive it in isolation. It's not perfect, but it's fine. But when you compare it to how the Audi drives, and even the Tesla, it's not quite as good. Speaking of not quite as good, I've got 10% battery now, so I'm definitely going to flip this into range mode. And now it says I've got 25 miles range remaining. I'm averaging 47.3 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, which works out to 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour. We've done 165 miles. I'm not sure this thing is going to make it to 200 miles. That'd be terrible. I'm kind of wishing I didn't launch it now. All right then, Audi, can you tell me your stats, please?
2.5 miles per kilowatt hour, 32% of my battery left, so I'll be driving for another 81 miles.
Tesla?
303 watt hours per mile, which converts to 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. I have 39% of my battery left, which equates to 133 miles.
Okay, I got a bit of a problem. I've got just 5% battery remaining, 12 miles of range. What I'm going to do is come off in a second at Weatherby services. Hey guys, listen, I've got to go. You're on your own heading up north. Good luck, Tesla. Good luck, Audi. Right, I've had a warning saying 2% battery, you might need to charge your car. And sure enough, 2%, 6 miles remaining. I'm now in an industrial estate and cruising around at 30. I wonder how long this is going to last. Oh look, warning, 1% battery, charging stations nearby, 2.6 miles away, and I've got 3 miles of range, so can make that, or can we? What? Wait a minute, it said it was we've gone the wrong way. 6 minutes and 3.2 miles, I've got 2 miles of range left. The sat-nav's dirtied us. So the trick computer says we've done 86 miles. Right, let's do a check-in with the other guys.
Hello, Matt.
Hi, Nick, you all right?
All good. More importantly, how are you?
Well, I'm driving round and round in circles with allegedly no battery left and allegedly no range left, but this car doesn't want to give up just yet. I think it's keen to make it to 200 miles, but what's your stats right now?
I have 30 miles of range remaining. I've got 12% of my battery left, but my energy usage is actually improving, so I'm doing 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour at the moment.
How many miles have you done so far?
224 miles so far.
Give us a call when you conk out. Hello, Rory, it's Matt.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm still driving around. I've got a very, very, very lethargic throttle pedal. How many miles have you done?
224 miles, still doing 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, and I've got 73 miles of range remaining. So yeah, I think I'll just creep over 300 miles.
Okay, well, good luck. Right, I'm now at 191 miles. Oh, hello. I noticed another drop off in power. Got my pedal to the metal and it's not picking up much speed at all. It's funny, I'm not getting loads of like screechy warnings or anything. It's quite relaxed about the whole affair. Now we've actually done 6.5 miles since it said it was empty, so there's plenty of leeway. Ooh, it's just dragging its heavy body up here. 7 mile an hour, 6. Come on, 5. 4, come on, get to the top, we're so close to the top. 3, come on. 2, come on. Everybody in the car rock. We're gonna do it. 3 mile an hour, 4 mile an hour. It's not gonna go up again. Oh, speed's dropping. Oh, here we go. Oh, I'm pulling over, I'm pulling in. This is a good place to die. We're dead. And we're dead in a safe place. Let me just put it into park and put it back into drive, see if it'll let me drive. No, see if it'll let me reverse. But I can't creep up the hill. So the slightest incline is just killing it now. I can't reverse with any steering lock on. It's game over. So let's see what we did. Distance was 193.5 miles range. It's not great really, is it? Average energy consumption, 45.2 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, which actually works out to 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. The reason it hasn't gone that far is because it's really not that efficient. Anyway, we need to charge it up now, and I have a solution. I'm here with Jock. Jock, you're my knight in shining armour.
Well, we've got a company called ZapMe, and this was designed for recovery. Anybody at Brixton, we just come and help them, rescue them and get them back in their travels to a destination where they can get a correct charge.
What you got here?
50 kilowatt rapid charging battery.
What we want to do is find out how long it's going to take to put 5 miles of range on this car. I'm going to start the timer, go.
This is starting 1 minute now, you hear it?
Yeah.
Usually when that goes to 28, they're 1%.
1%? What?
Yeah, so your vehicle's asking for 44.4 kilowatts and we're getting at 44.7 just now.
Wow. Can you see 1% on the dials? So we're going to go from here to the DC rapid charger, but this is going to get us able to do that very, very quickly. We have a mile. That's quite good. So it's done 8 miles in just over 4.5 minutes. The ZapMe system could recharge the Lotus more if I needed, but in less than 7 minutes, I already had enough battery to get me to the closest DC fast charger. So off I went. Right, I've got the car plugged into a charger, and this thing is super fast. So it's charging at an incredible 312 kilowatts. It's been plugged in for 6 minutes and it's now at 37% full. This is how it should be, and there's absolutely loads of blooming chargers around here as well. Do you know what? Electric cars could actually work. It might not all be doom and gloom, you know. Let's call Nick in the Audi. Hello Nick, you alright? Is your car still running?
It is still going. I have 5 miles remaining and I'm cruising around Durham.
So how far have you driven?
247 miles now.
I got a little bit over 190. Let us know when you finally conk out, okay?
Steady well. Hello.
Hello Rory, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. I've got 19 miles of range left now. Things are turning red. I'm not going to get anywhere near where I thought I was going to get. I'm not sure I'm even going to make it to Alnwick at this rate because that's 29 miles away. Got some decisions to make, whether to double back on myself because I've just made it past Newcastle, or whether to try and get to Alnwick, which is 10 miles beyond what this says it'll do if I try and hypermile it up to that.
So how many miles have you done so far?
269 miles in total.
Do you reckon you might be able to eke it over 300 miles or no chance?
According to this, I'm going to run out in 18 miles, which will take me to 288 miles.
Oh, so maybe, depends what's in the reserve, doesn't it really? We'll find out.
So I'll let you know.
Meanwhile, in charging land, over half full in 10 minutes. These chargers are brilliant. It's slowing down a bit now, it's at 225 kilowatts, but it's a lot quicker than at my house. 85p per kilowatt though, so it's going to cost £70 to fill this thing up. Anyway, I need to go home and I'm not sure that I can wait 10 minutes for this to be full and risk another stop. So I've got an idea. But only a few minutes later, I had a call from Nick in the Audi. Hi Nick, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Finally dead at my end. I was driving around, had no warnings until I got down to seriously low battery. 5 miles of range remaining. It started to get a bit slower, but I could still easily do 30-40 mile an hour. That was fine. And then when I got down to 1 mile remaining, it was struggling to do more than about 20-25 miles an hour. So I was circling around where I knew there was a charger. And then suddenly I get a warning flash up saying air suspension fault. So I try and do a 3-point turn to get myself back to the charger as quickly as possible. And then I get a 4-wheel drive system fault, and it leaves me stranded in the middle of the road. Thankfully, one of the parked cars here, 2 guys were coming back, so they gave me a push.
What happened in terms of your range and your average efficiency and all of that?
I managed to do 250 miles, and my energy consumption over that was 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour, I think.
Cheers then Nick, speak to you later. Hey Rory, how you doing?
All good. Managed to right next to an Instavolt charger and played a sort of game of cat and mouse, going back and forth
between two roundabouts, reduced power from about 10 miles on the indicator, and then I did 13 miles beyond zero.
Whoa!
And then very suddenly there were lots of red flashing lights and it said car is shutting down. At which point I had about 30 seconds genuinely to decide what to do. So I luckily pulled in next to the charger and the car died 15 metres from the charger. And I couldn't get the wire to come across. After a bit of Googling, I managed to find service mode. Then you can put it in tow mode, and as long as you keep your foot sort of on the brake, you can enter that mode, and then it releases the handbrake. Basically managed to roll the car back to the charger. In the end, it managed 295 miles range.
Wow.
So pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty good. And what was your average efficiency?
3.2 miles per kilowatt hour.
But guess what, Rory? I'm not in the Lotus. I'm actually now halfway home because I left the Lotus charging with somebody else, and instead I jumped in our tracking car, the Skoda Superb diesel, which, to tell you the truth, is averaging 47 miles to the gallon. It's done 250 miles and it hasn't even used a half tank of fuel yet, so I'll get back home without having to fill up once.
That does sound like the future, to be honest.
All right, cheers, Rory. I think I scammed everyone with this. Anyway, this is definitely the preferred option for getting home when it's late. So then, what exactly happened? Well, the Lotus died first, after just 193.5 miles. That's 64% of its claimed range, and an average energy usage of 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, all these cars were driven in sport mode for the majority of the test. The Audi came second. It managed 250.8 miles on a full charge, which is 69% of its claimed range. Overall, it returned 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour. But the Tesla won, easily. It managed 295 miles, which is 79% of its claimed range. It was also by far and away the most efficient car in the test. It averaged 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour.